Lucky or good? Lucky or good? We really wanted to ask this question today because I feel like the 49ers are underappreciated. I really do. That is not to say that they're perfect at every turn, because I never asked them to be. Why are we asking that of them? The Niners feel underappreciated because I've listened to callers at this station all day call in and bellyache. The defense, this, that, Mahomes going to carve that stuff up. Okay. They're in the Super Bowl. They're in the Super Bowl, and they went to the Super Bowl right after an offseason of everybody going, you better go to the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl or bust.
Which is really hard to do, and they did. And so my apologies if there are moments, and I know it's not everybody at all, it's not even close, but there are opinions out there where this was sort of what feels like the arc of the last 6 months. Kyle, you don't even know what you're doing at quarterback. You better be right. Oh, okay, you're right. Well, fine. I'm glad you're right, but you've got all the good players, so you better go to the Super Bowl. You better do it. Oh, okay, you did? All right, fine. So you're going to the Super Bowl, but I didn't like how you went to the Super Bowl. Oh, my gosh. Put your face right here so I can punch it.
You left out the Steve Wilkes arc and all this.
Jeez.
Which, Steve Wilkes, you can't stay in the booth. You're terrible. And he comes out of the booth, and it's Steve Wilkes. You're amazing on the sideline. And now it's Steve Wilkes. What are you guys doing? Your defense is no good. So I do know what you're saying in terms of appreciation. You don't feel like they're being appreciated at the same level, but they're not playing as well as they were when they won their first 5, and they're not playing as well as they were when they crushed Philadelphia. But that's football. It's up and down. But they only have to be better than one team in 12 days.
Didn't you get to the playoffs, though, and look back and go, oh, you know what? Maybe some of the things we were looking at we didn't really realize. Like, the Eagles aren't good.
Right.
The Eagles aren't good, so it stands to reason that it would be really much harder to beat the Lions than the Eagles. And it stands to reason that it would be harder to beat the Packers than the Cowboys. Because when you got to the end of the year, those are actually the good teams.
But we can look back at the year and look at it similarly in terms of the opening 2 games where you beat Pittsburgh 30-7, and Pittsburgh turns out they're better than we all thought they were in week 1, and you beat the Rams, and Stafford, dink and dunked you, and your guy Sean McVegas with a late score to cover the number.
That guy.
But it turns out the Rams were a playoff team. They were pretty good, and so as you go through the season, you can look at all these wins and losses in a different light and say, well, that was a better win than I thought. That was a worse loss than I thought.
And I don't want to dismiss that things change throughout the season. They evolve. Like the Steelers week 1 are not the Steelers week 18.
Right.
Nor are the Rams. Nor were the Eagles.
Nor
the
were the
Cowboys.
Bengals.
Absolutely. Like, right. Who's healthy that week? What's going on? What's the situation? I acknowledge all of those things. I just think that it's tough to put that label on a team. You better go. And then they do, and you're like, nah, I don't really like the way it looks. It's like, man, do you guys give credit to the other team at all? Like, are they there? Or are they just the Washington Generals? Is that what you all think about the Niners? They've just got red, white, and blue shorts on, and the other team is hired to show up and get steamrolled? Like, that's not what's going on here.
Right.
This is so hard. And I'm so flippin' impressed that they did it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so impressed that they did. It's so hard when you see it coming and the world's telling you, you better.
Well, that's where the bar was set.
They did.
We set the bar at Super Bowl or bust.
And they did. They're
here we are in the Super Bowl.
They're here.
And that's why I'm thinking in terms of my own feelings, I have a deep appreciation for it because you watch it and you know how difficult it is. Green Bay was hot. Green Bay played well, and you needed a drive, and you got one, and you got the victory. Detroit was a very good team. They came in confident, and they took it to you. And the Niners did something that nobody thought that they could do because they had never done it. Come back from 17 down at the half with a system quarterback and get the victory And they did. So I'm sitting here in deep appreciation, and as we get closer to the Super Bowl, I can get more into either worry or angst or analysis or all the above. But right now, 2 days removed from what we saw on Sunday, I'm still kind of basking in that, Mark, and I'm deeply appreciative of the fact of what you just said. It was Super Bowl or bust. You should make the Super Bowl. Well, they did. And they did it with Brock Purdy, and they did it with all the rest of these guys, and here they are. And yes, it's Mahomes, and it's not going to be a slam dunk no matter what happens. It's probably going to be a very close game. And you might be in a situation again where Brock gets the ball back with 2:08 to go and one timeout, and he needs to lead you on a touchdown drive, and maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Yep. But for me, no matter what happens in 12 days, this year has been a success.
Let's hear from some peeps, huh? How about, Rich in Fremont is back. Let's see if he's in a better spot. Hi, Rich. What you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for retaking my call. Sorry about that signal problem. I don't know what was going on.
We got you, bro.
Okay, well, just the other thing. I was trying to ask you guys, do you know who pays my paycheck?
We do know who pays your paycheck.
That'd be Atco.
Okay, you the man. You the man. You remember.
Friday at 2. What's bugging you? I'm already working on takes for Friday and what's bugging me.
Okay, well, tell your producer he's doing a bang-up job, man. I like that intro from the Rat on the Table. Thank you. So my whole thing,
you're doing a bang-up job. All right, go ahead, Rich.
Some off-mic fun.
So my take is pretty much what you were saying, Mark. I think people need to just realize that, hey, you asked for it, you got it, Toyota. All right, you wanted them in the Super Bowl, they're in the Super Bowl. How they get to the Super Bowl doesn't matter. Okay, what matters is that they play great when it's time for them to play great. Yeah, I don't like the way Niners have been winning, but they've been winning. I don't want them to stop. So if they get in a situation like they did in the bowl and they still come out and beat the Chiefs, I'm good with it. Okay, really. And everybody else should be good with it because it's what we really want. Don't come at me with this, I want window dressing on these wins. No. Just get the win. That's all that matters. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you, Rich. And I'll say this. I've heard this this comparison has been made by others. So I'm puppeting a little bit, but it's a fair one. If you are a San Francisco Giants fan, you know damn well what the word torture means. You know exactly what it means. And it is a more difficult watch. It's a more difficult watch than watching Durant's Warriors. That's like, you can go to the restroom and hang out in there for a while when Durant's Warriors are playing. You go to the refrigerator and you can look deep in the back to see if there's any snacks back there. And if you miss a few plays, you're like, that's all right. Now we're up by 23? Shoot, I thought we were up by 25. What happened? The other team got a basket, you say? Wow. But the Giants' experience is what this feels like. It's stressful. You pace. It's hard.
Yeah.
You text people. You freak out. You think it's not going to happen.
You change seats. You change clothes.
Thank you.
You change your underwear. You change it all. You do whatever you need to do to make sure they get the win.
To get to the end of the day.
Correct.
Yes.
You watch the game from outside. You spend your time in the kitchen. You shoo your baby into the other room.
We look back on Bumgarner, right? You look back on Bumgarner, but you know what would have been fun if we had all filmed ourselves when Bumgarner came in for the 5th inning.
Oh, my God.
How many times did you contort your face, grab your cheek, and you hug? Jeez. Right? How about balls hit out to left center field and people start fumbling it out there like, what'd you do?
Right.
You pooped your pants.
Totally.
They thought they were going to lose the World Series.
Grabbing the armrest and twisting and turning the whole thing.
But a decade later, you're like, we won. We won.
Yeah.
That's it.
He pitched 5 1/3 out of the pen on 2 days rest.
Legendary performance.
And threw up zeros.
Well, but legendary performance, and we don't go, hey, and thanks a lot, Hudson and Peavy. What the hell were you doing?
Totally.
We don't do that.
No.
Like, I do believe this, by the way. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union, the smart choice for low auto loan rates and super simple online application process. I bet you agree with this. Okay? Because you've brought it up a couple times last couple days. I think it's a real interesting deal. If you took today's media, today's collective consciousness, and you applied it to January 1982 and Joe Montana to Dwight Clark and the catch, I think a lot of people would have shown up the next day and been like, this Walsh dude, I'm tired of hearing him get called a genius. Because a genius, he's not turning the ball over 6 times. And this Montana cat, I know, yeah, okay, fine. You won in the end. But my God, you and your weapons, you better play better. We're going to need more consistency out of you. That might have been the response the next day. I know I was only 7 years old, but that wasn't the response in 1982.
Right.
The response in 1982 looked like Hunter Pence in a suite. Wow!
Totally, with different hairstyles.
That's the response. That's the sum total response back then. I wish there was a little bit more of that. I wish there was a little bit more of that today.
Well, that ship, unfortunately, has sailed, and it sailed on into the deep, deep blue sea because now we react in real time on Twitter, and we rip. And I can only imagine the tweets that were sent at halftime when they're down 24-7 that started with the word fire and, who's getting fired and what quarterback is getting replaced and where are we in the draft and Steve Wilks, run him out of town and all the rest of it. And where's Nick Bosa? And just everybody immediately taking to social media and burning the thing down as opposed to in 82 where you didn't have that outlet.
888-957-957. If you want to vote on the poll, it's both on YouTube and Twitter/X on the 95.7 The Game feed there. Which word better describes the 49ers and their journey to the Super Bowl? Lucky or good? Which word better describes it? Both polls right now tracking kind of at about 3/4 in the direction of good.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
That is also good.
You look at a team that is now, 14-5, I think is the official number. Yeah, 14-5. Right. And that includes the Rams loss, which was a loss for the second string. So you're 14-4 in all actuality. And you lost a scheduled game against Cincinnati where they were off a bye and you were heading into a bye. So you lost to Cleveland. Straight up, you lost. Your kicker had a chance to win that, and he didn't make it.
Yep.
You lost to Minnesota in a game where your quarterback may or may not have been concussed and didn't play great as a result. And Baltimore straight beat you. Your quarterback threw 4 interceptions, and you played badly on Christmas. So I look at the totality of the season. Have they always played great? No, but they've won. They've won at home. They've won on the road. They beat their division opponents. They had a great year. And yeah, a couple things went their way on Sunday, but that doesn't mean that it's lucky. It's just football, and good teams tend to make their own luck. That's the thing that I always go back to, and I think about my own career. Was it lucky that I got a break doing TV in Marin doing local games? Absolutely.
Yeah.
The luck was I happened to cold call a guy, and he had his play-by-play man leave 2 days earlier. That was lucky.
Yes.
But it was also good that I took the time to make the phone call and send over my resume tape.
There's initiative in there.
Correct.
There's also being, opportunistic would be the word.
Right.
Which is, taking advantage of what is presented to you. Nothing can be described in one word. Nothing is ever all lucky.
So Brandon Ayuk is lucky.
Brandon Ayuk, well, he's lucky, but is also incredibly talented to have the spatial awareness that ball was even there, react to it, and then execute the catch.
Exactly.
So a lucky break is presented, and you did something
you
with
execute.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He stayed with the play. He ran through the route. And the other thing we haven't talked about on our show, and I don't know if the other shows have either, but on the opening Niners drive, Ayuk with a huge pass breakup.
Yes.
On that throw from
been picked.
From Purdy, which was that was going to be an easy pick. Purdy threw it right to him deep down the sideline. Ayuk didn't quit, fought to get in there, might have committed OPI, but it's a good no call by Clete Blakeman and his crew, and he got the pass breakup.
Your boys did a good job in that game.
One flag each. One except I thought it was one accepted penalty. Maybe that was just the first half.
I thought there were 5. I thought the Niners had 3 and the Lions had 2. You're probably right.
I think I was looking at the halftime box.
Either way, I know it's funny. We compliment the refs when there's not a lot of flags.
Well,
they could be told. Maybe they just missed everything.
Well, they don't. And this is the thing that I have a hard time with, because I guarantee you they didn't miss anything, but they chose not to call certain things that they call in the regular season. We get to the playoffs.
Brock? You didn't like that one.
I think that was a miss.
Yeah.
That was a missed call. Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, there's never been a game.
It was helmet to helmet.
Yeah, there's never been a game when
I just wonder why we get to the playoffs and then we as an officiating group decide that now's the time to, quote, let them play. I think the fan experience would be greater if they had that attitude throughout the course of the regular year.
I'm with you, but we see it even within games. NBA, like the fourth quarter whistle is different than the first quarter whistle.
That's true.
Maybe they're trying to set a tone. I don't know. Maybe they're doing that throughout the season. Look back to last year's Super Bowl. They didn't let him play. Bradbury, hold, Eagles Nation freaks out. Bradbury goes to the locker room, says, no, it was a hold. I held him. They didn't have to call it. But they did.
Yeah.
And by the letter of the law, it was a hold, and onward we go. So that could come up again. There's no doubt.
That's true.
Matt in Seattle, next up on Willard and Dibs. Hi, Matt. What you doing?
Hey, guys. Just thought it was a sign once on YouTube. Usually catch you guys on YouTube. Thought it was a sign to just call in and kind of chime in on the question about where the Niners have been lucky or they're good.
Glad you did it. Yeah, by the way, let me take your comment, though, and let everybody know that we are back on YouTube. So if that's the way you watch the show, get back over there. Go ahead, Matt. Thanks for calling.
Awesome. Thank you. No problem. And I just want to say wholeheartedly, I think the answer is no. I think we are good. We deserve to be here. And I think back to after the wild card, the Packers, Lions, and Bucks are the remaining teams. And then I was thinking to myself, we're going to play Jordan Love. They don't have the experience that we have. They don't know that we just need to win. We just need to win to advance. And then once it gets tight, there's a belief that we know that we can keep going. And I think that resonated with the Lions at halftime. And looking forward, I think because we played well kind of that second half, then we get the biggest challenge of playing the final boss in 12 days, winning my whole life. And I think we are good to really show what we're truly made of. We're going to get this win.
Matt, thanks. There is poetry everywhere here. And I haven't really even taken a lot of time yet because we've got so much time until the 49ers do play the Chiefs. But there is a lot of poetry with this specific matchup being the way that this is all going to play out. The 49ers have a 10-point lead with 6+ minutes to go in a Super Bowl. It craters. The Niners decide within the next calendar year and a half, you know what we need? We need a different quarterback. And then we know the journey that they embarked upon in order to go get that quarterback. And it was a very unorthodox, surprising journey to arrive at Brock Purdy. That was not the plan. The plan was to replace Jimmy, but
with Trey.
Right. But here you go. And now you've got your guy. And it just so happens that he's the last pick in the draft and looks like he's about 3 feet tall. And then you do it. You get back to the Super Bowl after his arm falls off, all of that. You get back to the Super Bowl. You do it with a 17-point deficit erased. And then you arrive. You're like, okay, our 4-year journey has now been completed. Oh, here he is again. The exact same quarterback, the exact same coach, the standard, staring at a dynasty. Make no mistake, if the Chiefs win this game, that word is absolutely in ink for Kansas City. And it all happens in Las Vegas, Nevada. Like the poetry of this particular matchup is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Absolutely gorgeous.
It's incredible for the two journeys, and you can look at Kansas City's journey back, and it seems like they're always here, and Mahomes going for yet another one, and he's got his eyes on a bigger prize. Yes, the Lombardi's big, but he's already knocking on Montana's door, and he's thinking about how do I run down Brady and start to get to that GOAT status. And for the Niners, it's been a long, long time since they held the Lombardi. And of all the people to maybe shepherd you through 3 decades of darkness, it's a guy who was the last pick in the draft, a much maligned Brock Purdy, who was, they tried to pass him over by Trey Lance, but they just couldn't. And injuries and opportunity led him to get the gig, and he's never looked back. And now you look at an opportunity where you're 1 point, 2 point favorite going to Vegas, and not that you should win, but what a golden opportunity you have.
Well, and it's great that the AFC played out the way that it did, the quarterbacks who were waiting, because, all that's said about Brock Purdy throughout the year, you get to the playoffs, and that's not who people thought he was going to have to battle with. He was told all year, now you're going to outduel Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott? And he gets to the playoffs, and it's Jordan Love waiting for him.
Right.
And Jared Goff, timing pocket quarterback, for Brock to really hop to the top of the mountain and have people go, okay, we got it. You need one of them dudes, like an unquestioned dude, as your counterpart in the end. And it's not one of the unquestioned dudes. It's the dude. It's the
final boss.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's the only thing left. It's the only thing left. So I love that part of the opportunity.